Good day, everyone. I'm Sir RJ Layson, your math tutor and guide on this exciting journey through the world of numbers. In this video, we will discuss all about solving problems involving linear inequalities in two variables. So before we start our lesson, let's have an activity. Let us read the direction, match the statements in column A to its mathematical translation in column B. So we have here in the left side column A, and the right side we have column B. So statement number 1. So the sum of 5 peso coin F and 10 peso coin T is greater than 45 pesos. So what is the translation in column B? So we have letter E, 5F plus 10T greater than 45. Next, we have the difference between the height of Mark and Rhea is at least 5. So the translation in column B, we have letter C, M minus R greater than or equal to 5. Next, we have 3 years more than the twice the age of Kian is less than the age of his father. So the answer in this one is letter B. So 2K plus 3 less than F. Next, we have in a week, Martinez's family spends at most 3,000 pesos for food and educational expenses. So the translation for this one is letter F. F plus E less than or equal to 3,000 pesos. And last one, we have twice the number of green balls is less than the number of yellow balls. So we have here the translation, letter A, 2G is less than Y. In solving problems involving linear inequalities in two variables, to simplify the solution, remember the following steps. Step number 1, identify the words needed to be represented with variables or symbols. Step number 2, translate the statement into mathematical expression. Step number 3, identify what is asked in the problem, then solve. Step number 4, graph the mathematical expression, plot the shaded region, and plot some possible points. Problem number 1. Your parents give you a weekly allowance greater than 200 pesos. The allowance is budgeted for your food and school needs. If you allotted 70 pesos for your school needs, what would be the minimum budget for your food? So step number 1, we need to identify the words needed to be represented with variables and symbols. So we can let X represent the budget for the school needs and let Y represent the budget for food. The symbol for this problem is greater than. Step number 2, we translate the statement into mathematical expressions. So we have X plus Y is greater than 200 pesos. Next, we identify what is asked in the problem, then solve. Since we were asked what is the food expenses if the school's expenses is 70 pesos. So first, based on our linear inequality, we need to transform this one into a slope-intercept form. So we need to subtract both sides by X to isolate Y. So we have Y is greater than 200 minus X now. So we can substitute now the value of our X. So we have 200 minus 70. Your Y is greater than 130. Therefore, the minimum budget for the food in a week is 131 pesos. So since we have here the minimum budget is 131, so there are many possible points for this one. So we have here, we can also plot now or given linear inequality. So if we plot our given linear inequality, this will be the result for our graph. So that means if we have X here as 70 and Y must be greater than 131 or greater than 130. So the possible points or the possible solution for this one, 70 and 131, 70 and 150, 70 and 175, 70 and 200, 70 and 225. So these are some possible solutions for a given linear inequality. Problem number 2, in a week, Martinez family spends less than 3,021 pesos for food and educational expenses. Suppose that the family spend 1,000 pesos for the education expenses. What could be the family's maximum possible expenses for the food? So step number 1, we need to identify the words needed to represented with the variables and symbols. We can let also other variables other than x and y class. So we can use let f represents the amount of spent for food expense. Let E represents the amount spent for educational expense. And the symbol is less than. So since the problem stated here less than 3,021 pesos. Step number 2, we need to translate the statement into mathematical expression. So we have F plus E is less than 3,021. Identify what is asked in the problem, then solve. So solve for F. Given E or your educational expense is 1,000 pesos. So we have F plus E less than 3,021. Since we are going to find the value or the possible solutions for F, we need to subtract both sides by E. So we have F plus E minus E less than 3,021 minus E. So cancel E minus E. So we have now in the left side F less than, and the right side 3,021 minus E. We can now substitute the value of our E here, which is 1,000 pesos. So we have F less than 3,021 minus 1,000, that is 1,000 class. So F now is less than 2,021 pesos. This means that the maximum amount for food of Martinez family in a week is 2,020 pesos. Why do we need? The question is, since we're going to graph, as we've observed in our previous lesson about graphing linear inequalities in two variables class, if the symbol or the inequality is less than or greater than, let's recall this one, we will use broken line. Now, if we plot the points along the boundary line class, that means the solution is excluded. But if our inequality is greater than or equal and less than or equal, and if we're going to plot the points along the boundary line, that means the solution is included class. So that's why instead of using 2021, since the statement here is F is less than 2021, so that means 2021 and 1000, which is not a solution for the given linear inequality. So the first point now is 1000 and 2020. So if we graph this one using, we can use mano-mano or Desmos application or GeoGebra class, the result of your graph is this one. So we have here, the possible solutions are 1,000 and 1,020, 1,000 and 1,000 and 1,900, 1,000 and 1,750, 1,000 and 1,000 and 1,500, 1,000 and 1,000. Problem number 3. The difference between the height of Mark and Rhea is at least 5 centimeter. If Rhea's height is 160 centimeter, what is the least possible height of Mark? So solution, step number 1, we need to identify the words needed to represent with the variables and symbols. So let M represents the Mark's height, let R represent Rhea's height, and the symbol here is at least, so that means greater than or less than, and less than class or less than. translate, step number 2, translate the statement into mathematical expression. So we have m minus r greater than or equal to 5. And step number 3, we need to identify what is asked in the problem. Since we are going to ask, since the problem is asked to find the height of Mark, given Rhea's height is 160 centimeter, so we have m minus r greater than or equal to 5. So we need to isolate m here, so we need to add both sides by r. So we have now m minus r plus r greater than or equal to 5 plus r. So we have now m greater than or equal to 5 plus r. We can now substitute the height of Rhea here, which is 160. So we have m greater than or equal to 5 plus 160. So we have m is greater than or equal to 165. This means the least possible height of Mark is 165. Again, if the inequality used is greater than or equal or less than or equal, that means the given solution there is included, class. So when we graph this one, we will use solid line. So the result for your graph is this one. So these are some possible solutions of height of Rhea and Mark: 160 and 165, 160 or 1 and 190, or 160 and 225, or 160 and 250 cm, or 160 and 300 centimeter. So you try to answer this one, class. Try to pause this one and answer these questions, no? And you can write your answer in the piece of paper. Okay. Next question. So we have this one, 3 and 4. Question number 4. Try to pause and answer this one. And question number 5, again, try to pause this one and try to answer this one, class. Okay, so let's answer the given assessments, class. Number 1, which of the following is the mathematical translation of the statement, the difference between the height of Andrew and Christine is at most 5? So the answer here is letter D. A minus K less than or equal to 5. The other term for at most, class, is less than or equal. Question number 2. A kilogram of banana costs cheaper than a kilogram of orange, which is O. Which of the following mathematical statements correctly show its inequality? So the keyword here is cheaper. So banana is cheaper than orange. So that means B is less than O, or banana is less than the orange. Question number 3, Jason brought 2 biscuits and 5 candies. The total amount he paid was at most 20 pesos. If B represents the number of biscuit and C is the number of candies, which of the following mathematical statement represents the given situation? So the keyword here of the inequality is at most. When you say at most, is less than or equal. So letter D is answer. So 2 times B, or 2B plus 5C less than or equal to 20. Question number 4. May sells 15 biscuits and 20 fruits. The total amount she earned was at least 320 pesos. If X represents the number of biscuit and Y as the number of fruits, which of the following mathematical statement represents the given situation? So the keyword here for the inequality is at least. So that means greater than or equal. So the answer is letter C. So 15x plus 20y greater than or equal to 320 pesos. And question number 5, Sean plans to sell hot dogs for 10 pesos and hard-boiled egg for 7 pesos. If he sells 22 hot dogs, what is the maximum number of hard-boiled eggs he should sell to have the total sale of 300 pesos? So the answer here is 12. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've learned something out of this lesson. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with your grade 9 friends or classmates. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.